way or another, this NHL season that's coming close to a really riveting, I think, conclusion is going to be defined by one player, certainly by all the rest of us. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final will be tomorrow night in Sunrise, Florida. Brad Marchand and the Panthers, which still sounds funny, doesn't it? Being one win away from getting a visit from Mr. White Gloves. And I'm going to go out on a figurative limb here and guess that, only about 97% of all the dialogue in advance of this game and 100% of the dialogue once the final is over, either way, is going to be about Connor McDavid. This couldn't surprise anybody in Pittsburgh. When the Penguins needed 5 full years just to make the playoffs with the greatest player who ever lived, everything was on Mario Lemieux. Once they got into the playoffs and started rolling deeper, but you want to know something? As those games got bigger, so did 66. And you know what else started to happen? He started to take singular responsibility for the scoring component. His first year in the playoffs, 12 goals and 7 assists. Not very Mario-like, right? The next year, the first year that the Penguins won a cup, 16 goals and 28 assists, a very Mario-like distribution over 23 games. Although I'm making 44 points in 23 games sound normal, but remember who we're talking about here. The following year, even with the hacked up wrist, thanks to Adam Graves, in 15 games, he had 16 goals and 18 assists. This pattern would never change for him in the playoffs. He was always shooting more. In 107 career playoff games, he had 76 goals, I know, and 96 assists. He had 172 playoff points in 107 games. But I'm trying to make an actual emphasis here on the ratio, okay? 76 and 96. Why? He needed to put the puck in the net. Jaromir Jagr was no different, and I mean no different. He would take the game onto his own blade when it was the biggest game. Remember the historic, the legendary performance against the Devils that some argue saved the franchise from, well, maybe from leaving the city. Jagr wasn't passing that off to Marty Straka and Robert Lang. He was just finishing. Here's another one, Sidney Crosby. Throughout his career, even going back to juniors and wherever, he's been a 2-to-1 assist to goal guy. The first time that the Penguins won the Stanley Cup with him in 2009, he played 24 playoff games, had 15 goals and 16 assists. He'd never again, at least to date, have more than 9 goals in a playoff. He had 15 that year. Why? Well, consider that the previous year, when the Penguins made it to the Stanley Cup Final, of course, and lost to the Red Wings in 7, his playoff production was 6 goals and 21 assists, one of the biggest imbalances of his playoff career. What did he do? Just took it over. Said, that's it. It's up to me. What did he do in the international games against the United States in Vancouver just the following year? He shot the puck. Yevgeny Malkin's rate of goals to assists went higher in the playoffs as well. For his career, 67 goals in 177 games. Stack that against 113 assists. In 2009, that first cup year for this group, 14 goals in 24 games, half of those on the power play. Why? Boom, boom, boom. In 2017, 10 more goals, which swings me back to McDavid. There was a rush he made in the third period of Game 5 the other night in Edmonton. Just breathtaking. One of those ones where you're convinced that he's so much faster and more skill than anybody you've ever seen and will ever see. It just blows your mind the way he can gain not just the attacking blue line, he backs them off so far that he's pretty much gaining the entire zone. Well, he did that on this rush, and the Florida guys backed off halfway to Saskatchewan. And McDavid pulls up over to his left. Maybe you remember this. Kind of looks back over his shoulder and makes a drop pass. The only thing I remember about that drop pass in that split second is that it wasn't to Leon Draisaitl. And as such, it never should have been contemplated, much less executed, with the Oilers down a couple of goals in a pivotal Game 5 of a Stanley Cup final. The knock against McDavid used to be that he just doesn't produce in the playoffs. Well, he has blown that one out of the water, to his credit. And even right now, as I'm talking to you, he's got 33 points in 21 games, exact same figure as Draisaitl. Both of those figures, 33 points in 21 games. They are by far the leading scorers in these playoffs, 10 more points than anybody else. But if I ask you right now who's getting the Conn Smythe if Edmonton wins, it's Draisaitl by a mile. It just on the 4 overtime goals alone, but on the fact that he scored 11 goals. And McDavid has the 7, and most of his 7, not all of them, but most of them have been kind of the whatever as far as timing goes. And I swear to you, I'm not criticizing him. I'm not knocking him. I'm not, for all things, the way people in Pittsburgh have been accused of forever, not trying to put him down because we should have all the great players in Pittsburgh from now till the end of time. What I am pointing out here is that there's a roadmap that's been established among the greatest of the greatest great players in NHL history for how to win a championship. And it's not that drop pass. And it's not deferring. And it's not going through 21 playoff games and having 0 power play goals when you're out there all the time. It's taking charge. And it's something he's eminently capable of doing and has shown. Whether he does or doesn't, that's not going to tell the whole tale of this next game or two. It's going to tell probably, about 97% of it when we come back, J1Q. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. Today's J1Q is going to sound like it got lost on its way here. Comes from Aaron Kugler, and he asks, DK, this is probably a stretch, but could the Rafael Devers trade that the Red Sox just made with the Giants be related to the Penguins being on the market? It gives me flashbacks to the Pirates trade of Aramis Ramirez. All right, for the hockey people. Yes, this actually could be relevant, so hear me out. First, yes, Devers was traded from Boston to San Francisco. It is a trade that is being pretty much universally panned by the baseball world, in particular by fans of the Red Sox. It looks like a blatant contract giveaway or cheaping out, as the Red Sox had done just 5 years ago in sending Mookie Betts to the Dodgers. The obvious connection to the Penguins, the Red Sox are also owned by Fenway Sports Group. And almost everything that the Fenway Sports Group does that isn't related to the Liverpool soccer team now seems to be accompanied by this kind of undertone. Well, I'm sure the Red Sox people wouldn't consider this to be an undertone. This is a really big deal there. But acknowledging publicly that you're willing to sell a minority share of the Penguins, yeah, that's undertone-ish, because you're not giving anybody any kind of control. You're looking for cash, essentially. So with the Red Sox move, meaning the trading of Devers, who had just signed a 10-year contract, and part of the thinking at the time was, well, we'll show our fans that we really mean business by keeping Devers for 10 years and that the Betts thing was an outlier, and then they just do the same thing again. That's the kind of thing that casts doubt on whether or not you're even really all that serious about this ownership thing. So yeah, there's some arbitrary peripheral connection that can be made. Now, since you brought this up, I'm going to seize upon this opportunity to share some information that I picked up over the weekend regarding a Canadian report that stated that Mario Lemieux, Ron Burkle, and former team president David Morehouse were exploring the possibility of buying the Penguins back from the Fenway people. And I won't have very much to say on it because there isn't very much to say on it, meaning that I was told by someone on the 66 side of things that this is all BS, at least from the 66 perspective. There apparently was, I'm told, some kind of contact between Morehouse and the NHL that might or might not have had anything to do with the Penguins or ownership. So yeah, take from all that whatever it is that you want to. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Penguins. We'll be back with another one of these tomorrow.